Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to check out a track from a band called Android Superstation. They're a bit of a smaller band, they only have 158 subscribers. They're actually suggested by Musket OO. The band describes themselves as a group that come from a bunch of different musical backgrounds. They have a classical pianist turned synth enthusiast, a prog metal drummer, a punk guitarist, and someone else who has played just about everything. They've built a universe around their music. The first album has a comic, which you can see on their website, and it goes beyond just that. And they leave room for interpretation on all of their songs so they can speak to people on a deeper level that might be more personal. We're going to be checking out a track called Human, which comes off their upcoming album. I believe it's supposed to come out sometime next year. Let's dive into this and see what Android Superstation is bringing to the table with Human. Interesting little switch there. Yeah, loving that bass part. Oh, okay, I could get behind this sounds. Hitting the halftime. The vocals are a bit back in the mix, but I think it works here. Oh, the vocals are pushed to the sides. That's what it is. Yeah. Love the way all three instruments are. Yeah. The bass kick has an interesting production to it. I like the harmony with the vocals. See, the bass kick production works really well here, where it's a bit more spacious. But it's the low end reverberance without the initial punch. Like a feeling of dark awe. Yeah, really nice accent pattern on that fill. I like the bass line right there. I think the bass could have been brought up just a hair.
I don't know about you, but I've got the power to be human,
Effects on the vocals. You know what's interesting? I'll talk about it in a second. I love the melody writing though. Really good flow and direction. Good pacing.
Thank you very much. That was called Human. Thanks for having us. We've been.
Huh. I'm kind of curious if those the descending thirds at the very end, if that's part of the song, if that's the proper ending, or if that's what they did for this live show. Otherwise, it feels a bit out of place. But maybe it goes into the next song on the album too. So, I don't know. I'll reserve my judgment until I check out the album next year on whether that ending works or not. So, I'd said, "Hey, there's something interesting," and then I didn't talk about it, and that probably infuriated some people. But your patience has paid off. Let's dive into it. The production. It is something, all right? I feel it's a bit thin at times. The vocals are missing a center presence. They're sort of dissipated out towards the outsides. It's not necessarily a sound I think I enjoy, but it grew on me over the course of the song. It gave it sort of a digital etherealness where it didn't come from a single place. It's sort of more like an echo. You can't really place where it comes from. It's just sort of bouncing off of everything. It's lacking a physical place, a physical origin of creation. It's missing that human element. I think it's really interesting then that the song's called Human. I think the chorus was something like, I'm a human. He's trying to convince him, but maybe he's not. The band's called Android Superstation. I probably shouldn't read too much into that, but given that they are a concept band, it makes me think that this is possibly about an android trying to present themselves as human. And thus, the lack of a point of origin for where the vocals are created certainly lines up with that. I think that's a really cool effect. I don't know if that's something they use all the time. Like I said, it sort of grew on me as the track went on. The bass has a really nice fullness to it. The top part of the drum kit is very clear and clean. The synths and the guitar, though, feel a bit flat. They're a bit anemic. They're kind of missing that full bodiedness. And so that extra body is given to the bass kick, although it's mostly the tail off. It's the reverberance of the low end, not the initial hit of the mallet against the drum itself. It's kind of missing that initial impact. And I think the flatter guitar work and the missing oomph from the bass kick kind of makes the entire song feel a bit flat. It's kind of missing that extra body. But here's the thing. You know how I always say that decisions that go into making a song, whether it's compositional or performance or engineering, that they're tools in a toolbox. There's no wrong way to craft something. You just have to know when to use what. On the surface, I would say that there are some problems with the engineering of this track, and I think it would be better if they were addressed, but by the end of the song, I had a nostalgia for this sound. It made me think about why. I've never heard this band before. Even if I had, this video is only 11 months old. Certainly, I don't have nostalgia for earlier in the year. Oh, wait, snap, that might have been last year. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of decisions here that remind me of my childhood listening. When I say childhood, I still mean like teen years and early 20s. So we're talking 2000s ish. I almost wonder if the production here isn't intentional. It's not what I would call modern, not by a long shot, but it does feel very 2000s. And I'll be honest, by the end of the track, worked for me. I don't know that I would want them to change the production, even though my gut reflex was to say it needs to be tightened up just a hair. I do think the bass guitar could come up just a little bit. I saw him playing during the synth solo, I think it was, near the end, and I couldn't necessarily hear, but the bass kick was also going on at the same time in a different rhythm, but still taking up some space in the low end. So I don't know, maybe that's not a volume thing, maybe that's an EQ thing, maybe it's gonna get some ducking in there. I don't know. Sidechain some stuff. Production's not my wheelhouse. I'm learning it, but maybe volume isn't the answer to everything. It's probably why most of my old mixes are terrible. Regardless, though, the end thing here is that the production I thought was weak at the beginning, but by the end of the track, I wouldn't want it changed. And I think it's a good note to start off with. Just a quick reminder that everything works, that nothing is true in every single situation. There is no best way to produce a song. There's just the best way to produce a song. The song specifically you're producing right now. This song absolutely works with many of the things that I don't think would work with other bands, but they pull it off. It fits their style. Now, I really like the flow of this. I want to start with the melody first. There's something really catchy about the lead vocal lines. They immediately draw me in. There's not a lot of movement to them, and we do get harmonies on them around the middle of the song. There's a simplicity to them. They mostly sit around a single note and give or take, half an octave or so in either direction of the root note. Not really doing a lot of big jumps, not moving around the octave very much. It's not show offy, it's not flourishy. It's very functional, but it's functional for a purpose. That's what functional means. It functions. Which, of course, is to be catchy and to push the song forward. And I think it delivers on both sides. What I liked then is that we got to see an adaptation of this style without the concept of sitting around a single note. The guitar solo that we got to hear around 3 or 4 minutes into the track borrowed many of the ideas from the vocalist's vocal lines, when he went up, when he went down, when he decided to sit on a note, when he decided to move off quicker, but put it towards an instrument with a much wider range of notes. And we got to hear some really neat ideas come out of it. And this is something that I saw mimicked within the synthesizer as well when we got the synth solo. Just really great control over musical storytelling. The push and pull, the flow and direction and momentum of melody writing. It is something I think this band exceptionally exceeds at. And once they get some more eyes on themselves, and I mean, I don't know how many Spotify plays they have, but 158 subscribers is not enough for what this band is doing. I think they're certainly punching way above the viewership they have. And I think that these melody lines are really what's going to grab people. Now, there are quite a few different things going on in this track. We have more rock style guitar solos. We have some synthy electronic style ideas going on in here. We have synth wave concepts at one point in time. There's plenty of arpeggiation all over this, which a lot of different styles of music utilize. There's some really tasty, I'd say jazz adjacent bass work going on in here. The bass is never content to just sitting on one note. They're always walking, they're always moving around, playing ideas. The drums are sort of all over the place. Lighter rock styles, fast moving, punkier styles, and even some really interesting metal ideas with the quick 16th note bass kicks every once in a while to juxtapose and create some rhythmic syncopation against slower moving rhythmic ideas in their hands. Everybody's kind of coming at this and crafting so many different ideas here. I think it's interesting then not just that we have this wide variety, which certainly makes me want to put it into a more of a progressive category, but also that they find a way to make it all make sense. There's a very easy to follow structure going on in this that I find fascinating. All of these sections I don't think tie together exceptionally well. I think there's a decent enough flow going on between them. But there are a couple of times when we sort of just jump from one idea to the next, which is fine. Again, tools in a toolbox. But I think what's most fascinating is that as the song goes on, I can predict where they're going to next, which is not something I can always do for prog music. And it's a blessing and a curse. I think some of your more esoteric listeners may find this to be a bit too predictable. They may wish that it was a bit more chaotic. Every section should be new. Why aren't you writing a rhapsody? But I do really love the midpoint here. There's the progressiveness to the combination of ideas, but your structure is a bit closer to mainstream music. There's a poppiness to it. The vocals go down exceptionally smooth. The melodies are nice to listen to. There isn't anything in here that I'd say isn't generally palatable. It's just that the ideas as a whole, how many different ideas you utilize, is where the proggier aspects come in. And so you do walk this really nice middle ground between the chaotic worlds that prog rock and prog metal can be and the more palatable, well known paths that mainstream rock tends to utilize. And going down this path, I think you're going to find a lot of fans. Prog fans who are just really happy to hear some catchy melodies within their, a little bit uh, different songs. And people who traditionally listen to mainstream music who kind of find your music, despite being different, very listenable. It is what I would typically call a bridge song. I don't know if the rest of the album will be like this, but songs that kind of bridge together two sides of music. And I think that this band certainly has, at least this track, the ability to do that. To be that song that brings people into more difficult music. And I think that's fascinating. Anything else? No, everybody just killed it. I love the variety. Yeah, I think that's everything. Let me hit some lyrics real quick. Maybe I'll think of something else while I'm reading them, and we'll wrap this up. So here's some fun stuff. When they said that they like to leave some room for interpretation, I didn't know that they meant we're going to put 10 whole lines into our track and just create a very sparse lyrical scape. That's perfectly fine. It's just not what I was expecting. Um, I do have an excerpt here, though, that says the song touches on the struggle to maintain one's humanity, represented by traditional sounding instruments and century old melodies. So I kind of caught on to that. It's very possible that other tracks on the album aren't going to be as simple as this. They may explore more progressive tendencies, but at least this track is designed to feel a bit more traditional and closer to the mainstream, which I think it does. I identified that, and it's thematically relevant. So, yeah, awesome. To maintain one's humanity in an increasingly technological world, which, yeah, the synthwave parts come in, and they do feel a bit jarring, but that's also the purpose of them, no? It's supposed to be a division between technology and humanity. It's part of a concept album that we're in the process of recording that explores the shifting morality and human condition in a dystopian near future. Very cool. So yeah, lyrically, like I said, it is not super dense. It says, I don't know about you, but I've got the power to be human. That's what I say. And I've got every day to chase the night away. I'm human. That's what I... We don't get an end to that sentence. Later on, though, it says, a way out. I don't want to let this go. It repeats that over and over, mantra style, just really showcasing a desire to hold on to the humanity that they at least perceive themselves to have. I would have liked a little bit more context to this, but it's quite possible that it's found in the previous track, given that it is a concept album. And so I'm not going to dig too much into that. I'm sold though. I don't know if there's an exact date. I think it's just 2024. Yeah, they have a 2020 album out, and that is it. Maybe I'll check that out. I'll pull that to the side. I'll look at that. All right. I think that's going to wrap this one up. I don't have much else to say about. Oh, they have 42 monthly listeners. If you all enjoyed this, let's help them get those numbers up. I will. How many songs? 11 songs on their first album. I'll bump that up. Wait, how does Spotify handle that? Monthly list, that would be unique listeners then, right? That's not listens. Well, I guess I'll bump it up one then. I'll still listen to the whole album though. Um, yeah, let's wrap this up. Those are my thoughts on Android Superstation's Human. I'm looking forward to their upcoming album. But let me know your thoughts. Did you enjoy this? Was there anything that stood out to you? Anything you'd like to add on to what I said? Correct me on, give me your own perspective on, etc., etc. Let me know all that stuff down in the comments section. Above that, in the description box, there's a link to Linktree. Takes you to this menu. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. All right, that wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC as usual. We're going to check out some more music. I don't really have a schedule, I don't think, for this week. Just going to kind of pick some stuff that sounds cool. But if you're not a fan of the less structured, next week and the week after, we will be doing themed picks like usual. That'll wrap up our December. All right. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.